Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Sony A7C. I did purchase this camera myself, and any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product, you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. You can see the nice retail box and packaging right here walking us through some of the key features and tech specs. So you may notice we have the kit version here, so you can purchase this with an optional 28 to 60 millimeter f4 to 5.6 lens. If you want to just get the body only version, that will save you a couple $100. You can see up here E-mount 35 millimeter full frame. We have additional product information on this side too. Again, we got the kit lens and we have silver. This is also available in black depending on your color preference. The other side walks us through our supplied accessories as well as optional accessories that are not included that you might want to pick up. And then you can see the backside, we got some quick tech specs here. So USB Type-C, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, 24.2 megapixels or ISO range of 100 to 51,200, 10 frames per second, 693 autofocus points, real-time eye autofocus, real-time tracking, 5-axis stabilization, and our microphone headphone jack. And you can see with our supplied battery, the NP-FZ100, approximately 680 shots or images can be captured with the included battery. Really nice box and packaging. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, you can see our product literature right here with some advertisements, our 1-year warranty information, our reference guide, some info on the included kit lens, as well as our setup guide right here, available in multiple languages, complete with the QR code and Sony's customer service and contact information if you ever have any questions. Again, walking you through product setup, some quick features and advice for you. Next, you can see we have our included camera strap right here. Check that out. Followed by our USB Type-C to USB Type-A cable and a USB wall charger right here. So you can see that with the Sony logo and branding. Next, we have one included battery. So you can see the included battery right here for our A7C. This is the Sony NP-FZ100 battery. Next, we have our kit lens. You can see that up close. Check it out right here. You can see some of the specs. We can remove the lens cap. We'll look at it from all different sides and angles. There's our other lens cover right there. Go ahead and remove that too if you want to see everything up close. And last but not least, we have the camera body itself. Let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. So here's the camera up close, check it out, everything looks great. We have a nice grip handle right here with the Sony logo and branding. You can see our A7C marker, our E-mount. We can remove the cover to reveal the inside. You can see the sensor right there, 35 millimeter full frame sensor. Put the cover back on. Now you can look at it from the top, check it out. You can see all of our control options right here. On and off. Record button, all of our different menu control options. Plenty of configuration settings for you. And we have our hot shoe up top. Now we can look at it from the side. So we have 3 different covers we can remove. So the first cover is going to reveal our mic jack right there. We do have a dedicated microphone jack. Next cover is going to reveal our SD card slot. You can see our SD card slot right here. And then lastly, you can see with this bottom flap, we have our headphone jack. We have USB Type-C for charging and power, as well as our micro HDMI port. Flipping over to the back side, you can see we have our viewfinder, our menu button, all of our additional buttons and controls right here. Really easy to navigate with. Check this out too. You can see our screen that can rotate to multiple angles, however we see fit. It is touchscreen too, and it can fold back if you want to use it like this. Here it is from the other side. Again, nice grip handle, small and compact compared to a lot of other Sony cameras. And last but not least, you can see it from the very bottom right here. Our threaded connector, some additional product information, and we have our battery compartment that is housing the included battery. So that's a quick look at our camera. Now let's go ahead, let's get our lens on. Installing a lens on your Sony A7C is very simple and straightforward. Just match the color. So you can see we have our E-mount white right there with our white indicator as well. So just line them up to the best of your abilities right here. You can see it just gently slides right in, and just twist it to the right until you hear it snap into place. It's that simple. Our lens has successfully been installed. If we ever need to remove it, we can go ahead, we can press down this button right here. You can see that in the bottom left-hand corner of the lens if you're looking at it. So you'll press that and then you'll just twist it back to the left to remove the lens. Now let's look at the menu settings. Now you can see we have the camera powered on. We press the menu button up top and now we're at our menu settings. So you can see 6 different tabs and then a bunch of pages within each tab. I'm not going to explain each individual setting, but I want to show you everything that you can control and change on your own. Very easy to navigate. Halfway done with the first one. Again, 7 out of 14, 8 out of 14. Moving our way through. A lot of settings here. Now you can see we're in the second tab. A lot of our movie settings. We have 10 pages to go through. Next up, our network settings. Bluetooth settings, playback settings. Now you can see a couple different options. Then we have our setup, 6 pages to go through here, USB settings. And then lastly, you can see my menu settings. We can customize the menu as we see fit. Now let's look at our menu settings from the display. So currently you can see we're in video mode right here. So what do we have to work with? Let's find out. You can see first up, we have our audio record level. So you can see we can adjust our audio right here within the display. Also, this is a touch screen, but it's only touch for focus. So you can see we can choose our focus modes right here. A couple different options depending on what you prefer. Next, we have our different focus areas. A manual one if we want. You can pick the area. Next, you can see exposure, our ISO, our metering mode, multiple metering mode options. And you can see down below we have our different settings right here. So program auto versus aperture priority versus shutter priority versus manual exposure. Next, our touch operation, steady shot, we can turn that on or off. And you can see our creative style, our white balance options. I'll cycle through those for you. Set a custom one if you desire. And then you can see our picture profile. We could turn that on or off. A lot of different profile settings. Now you can see we got it in manual mode for photographs. So here's our menu settings right here. First up, we can choose our drive mode, single or continuous if we want, self timer if we want to take some bracketed photos. We can do all that right here. Next, you can see our focus mode. Look at all the settings we have. All of them are enabled. So you can choose whatever one you want. Next, our focus area. A lot of different focus options for you. Exposure, ISO, metering mode. And you can see if we want our flash. A couple different options there. White balance again. You can see the white balance settings. Creative style, steady shot on or off, file format. If you want JPEG, RAW, or RAW in JPEG, you can do that easily right from within here. And then you can see our shoot mode. We have manual, and we can use the dial to choose between all the different modes that we want up here. So you can see manual, then we're going to have our shutter, aperture, and then you can see our program mode right there. Up to you what you prefer and your own style. Now let's go ahead, let's try this camera out. So the first sample video you're looking at right here is coming directly from the micro HDMI, and it's being recorded through a computer using an Elgato capture card. So that's what you're seeing right here. That's what you've been seeing the whole video. That's an A7C body with the Sony 28 to 73.5 lens. The one we have with this camera is the 28 to 60, but I wanted you guys to get a feel for the quality of the 4K 30 video coming out of this camera, especially if you want to use it as maybe a webcam or for streaming or to record it through your PC like I do for all of these videos. That's what you can expect with what you're seeing right here. So now you're looking at some sample 4K video at 30 frames per second with our Sony A7C. This is raw video and raw audio. I'm just holding the camera as well so you can see as I'm walking right here what it's going to look like if you would want to use this camera to film any sort of vlogs. This is the stabilization that you're going to get without any sort of editing or gimbal or anything along those lines. So now I want to sample the crop factor for you when you're using 4K 30. You can see what it's going to record like, and we have the camera on a tripod. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to switch it up to 4K 24 so you can see the difference. Now you can notice at 4K 24 what it's going to look like frame-wise versus 4K 30. And the difference with how much more is now visible on the screen that you're able to record, taking advantage of the full frame sensor. I wouldn't say it's gonna make or break the shot, but it is something you will have to factor in when you're filming. So I had a lot of fun shooting some photos with the A7C and our 28 to 60 kit lens. I gotta say, this lens was more capable than I was initially giving it credit for. Obviously, depending on what you're trying to shoot, portraits, macros, that sort of thing, there are way better lenses available out there for you to purchase. But if you want just a nice starter lens that's well-rounded and affordable, I think you'll be impressed with the results that you're able to get with this right out of the box. And it helps too that we have a really nice camera body, and to take advantage of that full frame sensor, you'll really be able to push this to its limits. So now I want to spend a minute talking about the Sony A7C and if you can use a USB Type-C cable and power supply to extend the battery life. The answer is yes, but you will most likely still see a battery drain. So per Sony, that's what they say, and that's what I experienced testing this out. I even used Sony's very own charger and cable that was provided with this camera, and we still had a battery drain. So what can you expect realistically? Well, I conducted my test shooting 4K 30, and after half an hour, we lost around 6% of our battery. So I factored that out for 100% usage, and we'd get 8.8 hours. So to be safe, you should be able to get around 8 hours, maybe closer to 9, depending on your setup and what you're trying to accomplish, if you wanted this to record nonstop until the battery died. While not exclusive to the Sony A7C, I wanted you guys to hear what it sounds like when we have the shutter on, so to speak, so you guys can hear how loud it is. We have the ability to operate with the silent shutter. So first up, this is with silent shutter turned off. You can hear how loud it is. Now let's go ahead, let's turn silent shutter on. So we're gonna enable silent shooting, and let's go ahead, let's snap some more photos. And now you can see we're snapping a bunch of pictures right now, and you can't hear anything. So now let me share with you my final thoughts in regards to the Sony A7C. This is coming from a full-time content creator whose primary camera was the A6400, and I liked that camera so much that I wanted to improve my quality even further. So the logical choice was upgrading to a full-frame camera, which then led me to the A7C. That is the most affordable Sony full-frame camera you could buy new on the market today. Then once I got the camera, I liked it so much, I decided to buy a second one. So maybe I'm crazy, but I really enjoy this camera and think the value is there. So if you're coming from an A6000 series camera, it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade if you can afford it to get the A7C. You'll like the body and experience. It's very similar, just a little bit bigger, but maybe you're using the A7 III, maybe you have the A7 IV. This camera is going to be smaller than that camera, and the body is going to be different as you'd expect because there's different features, weatherproofing, things like that, that aren't available on the A7C. So it's going to come down to, if you want the A7 IV, anything like that, what features can or can't you you live without, and what is your primary use and application? So for me, using this camera for video and streaming, it just made sense. There were a lot of other features I didn't need to pay for that I'm not planning on using. I guess if I do, I'll just buy that camera then. But for me, this is the most affordable Sony full frame camera. Definitely worthwhile. Really happy with the image quality and all the features that we get. Most of the features, full disclosure, I'm not even ever going to use or take advantage of, but I wanted a great, quick focusing camera for video, and Sony definitely delivers.